Today is the Michigan and Mississippi Democratic primary. There's 130 delegates that Michigan is just going to be passing out, and then Mississippi is 36 delegates. So Michigan with the big, water crisis in Flint, Michigan with the lead, all that lead in the water. So essentially they're just poisoning their residents. 130 delegates, it's a shit ton of delegates. We'll see how that goes. The poll says that Hillary is up by a few points, like 52 to 48%. And then in Mississippi, which is the most racist and backwards and stupidest state in the nation, clearly is going to go for Hillary Clinton since, she's a Republican, they're Republican. Of course they're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. So no surprise. One Mississippi, two Mississippi. No, wait. We don't need two Mississippis. One is too much already. Fucking Mississippi, man. Just 4 or 5 months ago, actually, in Mississippi, a Mississippi man had bombed a Walmart. He blew up went into a Walmart with some kind of homemade bomb and blew something up because they wouldn't sell Confederate flags. What? The Confederate flag, that was 1850s. They were defending 10,000 slave owners, and they were fighting against the United States of America. You don't like the United States of America? Get the fuck out. So, evidently, Confederate flag, it's their bread and butter, it's their pride and joy. They can't brush their damn teeth, take baths, but using violence to defend them 10,000 slave owners from the 1850s, that's the most important value that they hold. So some statistics, and these are real. 72% of Mississippians, 72%, can't even pronounce Niger, the African country of Niger, correctly. What do you think they say? 52% of Mississippi GOP voters say Obama's a Muslim. And the other 48% say that he's an Arab. I don't know if that's true, but Muslim, 52, you all think he's a fucking Muslim. If anything, he might be an atheist, but he says he's a Christian, what the fuck? Do you remember that Jeremiah Wright? You don't remember that, Christian preacher that it was all controversial when he was running? He's Christian. Something else about Mississippi, this is absolutely true. It was just declared this year, but April is Confederate History Month. So I guess in response to Black History, it's like, how dare they have Black History Month? So they're going to even it out, not with a White History Month, right? Not looking at America and seeing all the great things about our country, but with a Confederate History Month. The whole month dedicated to defending a bunch of treasonous, traitorous, racist, backward, bigoted, fucking low-life pieces of crap. And even if you did have ancestors at fault for the Confederacy, what choice did they have? They were drafted. And so you would get poor whites who are fighting for the 1% to defend the 1%'s right to enslave other people. Come on, man. Fucking Mississippi. I swear to God, I wouldn't wish Mississippi on my enemies. And really, just like people were saying with New Orleans, get out, get out. It's not safe, it's not sanitary, it's not good for your health, it's a bad culture. The culture is bad. So I'm going to say some good things so you don't think I'm so negative. Essentially, the way I'm looking at these electoral maps are, if you voted for Bernie Sanders, you're a good state. If you didn't, then your state sucks, okay? So there's Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Colorado, New Hampshire, Vermont. Good states. These are great states to live in. You have smart, progressive, democratic, civic-minded people there. People paying attention to politics, and they make the right decisions. These are good states, but Mississippi, holy shit. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because of the old Confederacy. This is who's voting for Shitlery shitting. Fucking Shillery, Billery. So you got Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia, Alabama, or Mississippi, not Alabama, but who do you think Alabama's going to vote for? Give me a fucking break. They're the one. And Mississippi, Georgia, and South Carolina. South Carolina, that's where the Walter Scott, the cop shot Walter Scott in the back, right? He was running, and he just casually shot him and then And then you had Dylan Roof, who killed those 9 black folks in the church. And then they had a big Confederate debacle. Now, what's odd with South Carolina, they took the Confederate flag down from their state house. But Mississippi, they still have the Confederate flag in their state flag. And what heritage and history are they actually celebrating? I'm gonna talk more about that in a second, because it's not even a Confederate history. It's a 1890 history. They did that after the fucking Civil War. But let's look at these states. You know, Mississippi, right? It's Birmingham? No, that's Alabama. Mississippi. Well, that's where we're on. We're talking about Mississippi right now. So Tennessee is where the Ku Klux Klan was formed. Nathan Bedford Forrest was born in Tennessee. He's the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. KKK was founded in Tennessee. In Memphis, they killed MLK, and MLK was defending the right for the garbage workers to be able to unionize for better working conditions and better pay. That's what MLK died for, garbage workers. Then Virginia, that's the capital of the Confederacy. You have, all these are old Confederate fucking states, so I can go down and sort of burn each one, but they're the fucking South, and for about 30 to 40 years, they have always voted consistently Republican. How are they going to vote in November? They're going to vote for the Republican, fucking Donald Trump, Kasich, or, Cruz, creepy fucking Cruz, and or the other one, Rubio. So that's who they're going to vote for. It's an irrelevant state. It would be irrelevant for Republicans or Democrats to even campaign there. They don't fucking matter. And so these Confederate states have been voting against their interests for decades, against their economic interest. And why? Because they hate Muslims, they hate gays, they hate blacks, they hate Mexicans. That's who the fuck they are. And they're irrelevant in the general election. They'd rather be fucking racist than to have more money in their pockets. There are more white people on welfare. There are more people from these red states that are on welfare. But they would rather cut their own legs out from underneath them and then get shocked when they get their health care or food stamps taken away from them. Just like Owsley County, Kentucky. 90% is Republican, 90% are on food stamps. So they take government welfare, and then they go ahead and talk shit about people who take government handouts when they're doing it. So they're fucking hypocrites, and they're just pretending that they're not. Only Virginia is actually a swing state, but the rest of the states, it's irrelevant. They are ill-fucking-relevant. These 2 Mississippians are walking down different ends of the street towards each other, and one of them is carrying a sack, and when they finally meet up in the middle, the other one was like, "Hey, Tommy Ray, what you got in the bag?" And he's like, just some chickens. If I guess how many they are, can I have one? Well, if you guess right, I'll give you both of them. 5? How many Mississippi State University freshmen does it take to change a light bulb? None. It's a sophomore course. How many MSU sophomores does it take to change a light bulb? 1. But he gets 3 semester hours. So it's it goes towards his graduation. Mississippi, they still have the Confederate flag still in their fucking state flag, okay? It's not my heritage. I don't know what the fuck you're celebrating, and it's fucking bullshit. It would suck to be surrounded by fucking dumb back Mississippians. Don't give a fuck. The racism, just like Dave Chappelle said, is stewed to perfection in Mississippi. It's out in the open. Everybody knows the deal in Mississippi. Georgia dropped their Confederate flag in their state flag in 2003. South Carolina dropped the Confederate flag at their state house. That's our tax dollars. This is America, the United States of America. The Confederacy fought against the United States of America. So, it doesn't make any sense. Mississippi is holding strong. They're like, hell no, we won't go. We're gonna keep the racism up. We're gonna keep on defending a bunch of slave owners from the 1850s. They're terrorists. They're treasonous. They fought against the country. They wanted to use violence in order to be able to whip black people and poor whites because they're above somebody. Because it was bad for poor whites. Because how can you compete with someone willing to work for free? If you're a wage slave, you're trying to make some money. Like, I'll work for $1. Well, they'll work for free. You can't. So the Mississippi voters actually, it was put on a referendum in 2001. They voted to keep the Confederate state flag. So it's by popular referendum, right? The voting public. The people, at least the voting public, voted to keep the racist Confederate flag. It's like they don't even realize that the Confederacy was anti-America. They were treasonous, racist, pieces of shit defending 10,000 aristocratic slave owners' rights to own human beings, defending the 1%. The 1% who didn't give a fuck about them poor whites were drafted into the Confederacy. But ultimately, they fought against America. They fought against America, just like ISIS, just like the 9/11 terrorists. They wanted America to go down. They fought against us being united as a country, as a nation. They didn't want to live in the United States. They want to form their own country. So if they got a problem with this country, then get the fuck out. Seriously. Jesus Christ, you make me look fucking bad, and I don't defend that stupid ass bullshit. Let's talk about their flag, okay? The true blue Confederate flag, the one that the 1861 Mississippi Confederate legislator implemented, wasn't the old stars and bars battle flag. So the 1801 Mississippi state flag wasn't the X, right? It was one star. It had one star on it, a white star, blue around it, and a magnolia tree. And they call it the Magnolia Flag. And that's it. It had a Magnolia flag. Mississippi didn't decide to add the Confederate flag into their state flag until 1894. 1894. So that's 30, 40 years later. You're not defending the fucking Confederate. You're fucking defending the 1890s people. And there's legal shenanigans. It wasn't officially ratified. So then eventually in 2001, the Mississippi asked the citizens what they thought about it. And apparently the ones who voted were like, yeah, we need to keep the 1894 flag. We need to. It's an 1894 flag. It's also, you know, racist. I mean, my God, the fact that we're even, it's 2016, the fact that we're even fucking talking about this shit. Some pieces of shit would tell you when it comes to the Civil War that we really don't know what we're talking about, that we don't know our own history and heritage. No, Mississippi, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? You're sitting there crying about what the 1860s slave owners were fucking talking about. It was wrong. It was bullshit. It's a horrible institution, and fuck your ways. You want to still be racist? Fuck you, man. You know, you don't know your own history and heritage, so it's ironic because you're telling us we don't, but you don't. You kept the 1894 flag, and why they brought it back, because you're racist, bigoted, low-life pieces of shit. You're fucking turds, scumbags, low-life degenerates. Mississippi doesn't know about their own history and heritage. What's the difference between MSU and a bucket of shit? The bucket. Fucking. So the only guy at MSU, Mississippi State University, who knew how to make ice cubes graduated. That's what they didn't. They didn't serve ice cubes in their drinks because the one who did know how to make it graduated. Okay. MSU should change their name to the Possums. They play dead at home and they get killed on the road. MSU, man, the fucking rebels. And that's another thing. You're not rebelling against anything. What are you rebelling against? You're like, rebel, let's go back to 1850s and own slaves. Yeah, that's a good fucking rebellion. Meanwhile, you're the most fucking conservative bastards out here voting for Republican after, you know, you're conservatives. You want to keep things the same. How is that rebellious? That's the opposite of rebellious. That's, like, sheep. That's like compliant. That's like kiss-ass Uncle Tom bullshit. Mississippi is lame, tame, whitewashed, disgusting. They're the worst state in the union, absolutely. You know, Kentucky's got its own problems, but thank God for Mississippi, because there's a worse shithole than Kentucky. I mean, Mississippi, you all really set the bar very low. You said it, I mean, you're on the fucking bottom. You're the worst state. If there was one state that I had to get rid of, I just, you know, if I had to, it was, you know, sort of a gun was at my head, and they said, you must get rid of one state. Yeah, not Rhode Island, even though it's a smaller state with a smaller population. Mississippi. See you later, Mississippi. So it's also law since 1972 for the school children to recite a pledge of allegiance to both of their flags. So to the Confederate flag, the Mississippi Confederate flag, and to the American flag. They got to recite a pledge. The statute is part of the set of state statutes that governs the curriculum of the state's public schools. Section 3713.7 says, the Pledge of Allegiance to the Mississippi flag shall be taught in the public schools of this state, along with the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag. And here is their pledge. I salute the flag of Mississippi and the sovereign state for which it stands, with pride in her history and achievements, with confidence in her future, under the guidance of Almighty God. I don't know if they're still fucking carrying this shit out. If they are, Fuck that. That's why, fuck the public schools. I would not allow my kids to be reciting this stupid-ass racist fucking bullshit. Salute the flag of Mississippi. Salute the Confederate flag. No wonder they're going to Walmarts and bombing their fucking schools and shit. You know why the Christmas play got canceled at MSU? Because they couldn't find 3 wise men or a virgin. How do they define safe sex at MSU? Mississippi State University, they define safe sex as when they separate the animals from ones that kick versus ones that don't. The ones that don't, that's safe sex for Mississippi State University. You know how you separate the men from the boys at Ole Miss? With a restraining order. Or with a crowbar. How did the MSU student die from drinking milk? The cow sat on him. What do you call a good-looking woman on the Mississippi State University campus? A visitor. What do you call an MSU student who owns a cow and a horse? Bisexual. What's the biggest lie told at Mississippi State? Oh, I was just helping that sheep over the fence. Yeah, all right. Come on, Mississippi. You nasty-ass fucking goat chicken fuckers. What's the definition? Mississippi consistently ranks on the bottom of every indicator compared with the rest of America. They're the dumbest, stupidest, loudest, fattest, sickest, most violent, most illiterate. It's a horrible society. No horrible bunch of people. I wouldn't wish living in Mississippi on my worst enemies. And, you know, I'm sure there might be some good ones here and there, but seriously, the whole culture, it's a sick culture. Number 1 for obesity. They're number 1 for obesity in Mississippi. They also take all that fucking welfare. And, you know, like, being number 1 for obesity, I thought it's pretty ironic, since crystal meth is supposed to make you skinnier. Why do Southern Miss fans smell so bad? So blind people can hate them too? Why do the Mississippi State Bulldogs eat cereal straight from the box? They choke whenever they get near a bowl. How do you get from Tuscaloosa, Alabama to Oxford, Mississippi? Go west. How do you get from Tuscaloosa, Alabama to Oxford, Mississippi? You just go west until you smell shit, and then you go north until you step in it. And that's how you know you're in Oxford, Mississippi. You know how you castrate a Mississippi Rebels fan? You kick his sister in the mouth. What do you get when you drive quickly through the Mississippi's Rebels, the MSU's campus? You get an undergraduate degree. What is 20 feet long and has 5 teeth? The funnel cake line at the Mississippi State Fair. What do the University of Mississippi and pot have in common? They both get smoked in bowls. How do they separate the men from the boys in Mississippi? With a restraining order. Bunch of sick motherfuckers. How do you stop a Mississippi fan from beating his wife? You dress her in Alabama crimson. Yeah, like Alabama. Mississippi fan say after sex, "Get off me, Dad, you're crushing my smokes." Sheep coitus. So in Arkansas, Razorbacks fan and an Ole Miss. Why Arkansas? Like, you guys are any fucking better. An Ole Miss fan were driving when all of a sudden the Arkansas fan slams on the brakes. There's a sheep with her head stuck in the fence. Okay. And the Arkansas fan says, "Well, we Razorbacks never pass up an opportunity like this." Right? The sheep head is stuck in the fence, so he had his way with the sheep, right? Gets out and just has a good old time. And then he says to the Ole Miss fan, he was like, "Oh, it's your turn." And so the Rebels fan bends over and sticks his head in the fence. One day this kid and his mom were walking past a cemetery when they passed a grave and the kid stopped to read it. The mom and kid walking past the cemetery when they passed a grave and the kid stopped to read it. He read out loud, "Here lies a Mississippi graduate and a great man." And the kid says, "I don't understand." The mom says, "Well, why not?" The kid says, "Well, why are there 2 people buried here?" They're just a shitty state. I mean, they make all of America look bad. They're dead last, number 50 for education, for health care. I'm surprised anything even works there. And that's another thing. I guarantee you that Mississippi and all these Republican states, they've got millions of poor people on the dole. Largest demographic on food stamps? White people from Mississippi. And no doubt they're the most religious. So big shocker there. But very, religious, very Republican. And just look at them. They got a horrible, backwards, sick, violent society. While living in Kentucky could be bad enough, Mississippi is infinitely worse. At least, Kentuckians can look down on somebody. Thank God we're not Mississippi. You're going to get mad at me because, if somebody held a gun to my head and said that one state had to get nuked, I would pick Mississippi. You going to get mad at me for that? Mississippi is the one that has the anti-fucking America Confederate flag right on their own state flag. And, the people voted for it, just like they voted for Hillary, just like they vote for the fucking Republicans all the goddamn time. So why stay for the bigotry? Why stay for the bullshit? You're going to get mad at me, but you guys are the ones that have a treasonous, traitorous, anti-America flag on your own damn state flag. You don't like America? Then get the fuck out. What the fuck? What do you have pride in? I've always wondered, why do 55% of America's black folks live in the deep, dirty South? Why would they stay around that shit? And now I'm wondering, why would whites want to stay there? What could be what's worth keeping in Mississippi? What's worth keeping there? The land? Okay, keep the land. Emily Sue passed away and Bubba called 911. 911 operator told Bubba that she would send someone out right away. Where do you live? Asked the operator. Bubba replied, at the end of Eucalyptus Drive. The operator asked, can you spell that for me? There was a long pause and finally Bubba said, how about if I drag her over to Oak Street and you pick her up there? What do Mississippians call reruns of Hee Haw? Documentary. Where was the toothbrush invented? Mississippi. If it was invented anywhere else, it would have been called the teeth brush. A Mississippi state trooper pulls over a pickup truck on I-40. He says to the driver, you got any ID? The driver says, about what? Did you hear that they raised the minimum drinking age in Tennessee to 32? They want to keep the alcohol out of the high school. Last four jokes. You all ready? How do you keep Mississippi Bulldogs out of your yard? You put up goalposts. Why did the Mississippi State Bulldogs graduate cover her ears? She was trying to hold a thought. I got a thought. How do you neuter a Bulldogs fan? You kick his sister in the jaw. What do Mississippi State Bulldog football players always get on their final exams? What do they get on their ACT? It's the same thing they get on their ACT, the ACT. What do Mississippi State students, Mississippi fucking citizens get on their test? Drool, because they're stupid. They don't fucking get A's, they just drool. I'm fucking dumb. Fucking Mississippi. Fuck you, Mississippi. Fucking embarrassing.